toxic behaviors are actually actions, reactions. We're actually talking about attitudes that are driven by previous exposures, experiences, educations, and encounters, such that anybody and anything around the person who carries such a behavior gets wounded by interaction. So what are the toxic behaviors? Number one, let's look at the checklist. Number one is what we call shaming. Shaming. Are you in a relationship with someone who shames you? Are you in a relationship with someone who uses your looks, your failures, your weaknesses, your disadvantages to criticize you, demean you, and belittle you, not only privately but also publicly? The person wants to marry you, the person is married to you, but at the same time, the person has a way, either in a sarcastic way or in a very direct way. The person has a way of shaming you in the public, such that when you want to speak in the public, the person will quickly come in and make statements like, I'm sorry, I know my wife wants to say something, or my husband wants to say something, but you know, I know he may find it difficult to express his thoughts, so let me say it on his behalf. Shaming. You are about to marry somebody, or you are married to somebody, and you are shaming the person, the mother of your children. You shame the mother of your children before your family members. You shame the father of your children even before your kids. You shame your partner before your friends and make yourself look so important. Here's a question. How can you be that important if you are saying the person you are connected to is a fool? Number two is ingratitude. Always comparing you. Always comparing what you gave with what somebody else gave. Thank you for giving me the money. Thank you for giving me the money you gave to me. Thank you for the car you bought for me on my birthday. Thank you so very much I know you bought me, a Mercedes C-Class. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. But my friend just sent me a picture of her own, the gift that her husband just gave to her. The husband just gave her, a Lamborghini, stuff like that. The husband just gave her Lamborghini. So what you want me to do? I mean, I just bought you this car. That's what I can afford. Must you tell me what your friend's husband bought for her now? It's a sign of ingratitude. When you've just been given something and you are now trying to refer to something that your partner, something that your friend have just received, or your friend just did for her own partner, to your partner, it's a sign of ingratitude. Number three, toxic behavior is called irresponsibility. Irresponsibility. Always avoiding and transferring major blames and responsibilities to your partner. Always transferring blames, never taking responsibility for your irresponsibility. Always transferring blames. Always accusing your partner for your actions, inactions, or reactions. Never taking blames for your decisions or your indecisions. Never taking responsibility. Always transferring blames. Inflexibility. Inflexibility. You are not flexible. Inflexibility. All right? You are very rigid. Very rigid. As it was, so it is, and so shall it be. World without end. You are still doing typewriting, ASDF, column JKSF, even when the world has moved. You are still learning shorthand, even when voice command and voice to text has come. You are still analog in a digital era. You are fixed. You are fixated. You are like a statue. You don't move. And you brag and you talk about, you are so proud of your rigidity. What do you get by just creating a rigid environment? Change. Change is the only thing that is constant in this world. Those who change grow. Those who grow change. You never grow if you don't change. And you cannot change if you don't let go of certain things that you've held on to in the past. Another toxic behavior to watch out for is insensitivity. Watch out for this. It is a fox that can destroy your marriage. Insensitivity. You don't care to know. You don't even care to attend to, if you know, what your partner's needs, what your partner's love or apology languages are. You don't care. You are insensitive to your partner's need, your partner's emotional need, your partner's conversational need, your partner's physical need, sexual needs. If you're married, you don't care. You are insensitive. You are more sensitive to the deflation in any of your car's tires. You are aware when one of the tire is not, proper. You know when your engine is not sounding well. You are sensitive. When something is wrong with your phone, you are sensitive. When something is wrong with some of the machines around, you are sensitive. But your partner, you are insensitive. Your partner is sick, you are insensitive. You don't care. You can walk out of the house, walk out, leave your partner unattended to. You never leave your partner in a fire. The next toxic behavior is what I call inconsistency. Inconsistency. You don't follow through. When you meet someone, you want to marry someone, and the person promised you, well, tomorrow we're going to see my mother, and then tomorrow, well, let's make it next month. We're going to get married in 2 weeks' time, and then 2 weeks' time, no, it's going to be in 2 months' time. Inconsistent. You don't keep to your words, to your partner, with your partner. You are inconsistent. Today, I'm going into farming. And then tomorrow, when your partner is invested emotionally into farming, you shift over. I'm going into, automobiles. And then your partner again changes. Now from automobile, I'm going into politics. From politics, you constantly like that. You are inconsistent. Criticism is another toxic behavior that can destroy any marriage or relationship. You are always negative. Always critical of your partner. Always negative. Always critical of your partner. You characterize your partner. You label your partner. You attack your partner's personality. Criticism. It's a terrible, toxic behavior. If you see it in anybody you want to marry, you better pause. You better ponder. Another toxic behavior is what we call contempt. Contempt is always there if you have criticism, but contempt is different. In contempt, you always want to bring down your partner so that you can establish yourself. You will bring down your partner. You will speak against her family. You will say, if not because of anything, what family I come from, marry someone like you. You know the kind of education I have. Why should I even marry someone like you? Who did he have the kind of education that I have? I am well traveled. You are not. What gives you the audacity to talk to me? You're always using your advantage to demean your partner. It is called contempt. Unfaithfulness is another toxic behavior. Unfaithfulness. You are not dependable. You are not loyal. You are not constant. Marry someone who already begins to show signs of unfaithfulness, he's not going to get better except God changes the person. If I were you, I will wait for God to change the person before I marry the person. Because there is no guarantee that when you marry the person, the change will happen instantly. Unfaithfulness is a terrible, toxic behavior. It's a fox that destroys marriages. The next toxic behavior is what I call negative influence or influence. When it comes to negative influence, we are saying that even though you are in the 21st century, what happened in the 19th century is still controlling you, influencing you, directing you, shaping your perspective, influencing your narrative, and making you look at your partner through the lenses of the past. You must give the person in your life now the liberty to prove himself or disprove himself or disapprove of himself. You must give the person the liberty to do so, rather than trying to preempt this person based on your previous relationships that you've had. Another thing that is considered a toxic behavior is what we call deficient fatherhood. Fatherhood, meaning you had deficiency in the way you were being fathered. Your father was not available in your life from growing up stages, either because he died, either because he divorced your mom, or because he was not always around. So you were overmothered and underfathered. You have deficient fatherhood. So as a woman, you didn't have proper relationship with a man by relating with your father. And so it's affecting your relationship with men today. And as a man, you learn too much about life from a feminine perspective, so you don't understand the masculine perspective to life. You want to be a man, but you've not seen a man lead. You want to relate as a man to a woman, but you didn't see one relate to one in your house. Deficient fatherhood. Your father was not involved. Your father was not accessible. In the same vein today, you are also not involved. You are also not accessible. You are also unavailable. Rejection. It's another toxic behavior. You are in relationship with someone who is always rejecting you. It's a toxic behavior. The person makes you feel unwanted. The person makes you feel unloved. And the person makes you feel unwelcomed. Are you in any relationship like that, either with someone you want to marry or someone you're married to? You feel unwanted. You feel unwelcomed. You feel unloved. You are actually receiving rejection. It's a toxic behavior. Avoidance. Now, they are all connected. Anybody that is going to reject you must master the art of avoiding you. Are you in relationship with someone who's always avoiding you covertly or overtly? Always creating situations that makes two of you not to interact, not to converse, not to relate emotionally, physically, or sexually? If you find that kind of situation, it's an atmosphere of avoidance, and it is a toxic behavior. It destroys marriages and relationships. So much being shared right there. And then I welcome you to the Relationship Masterclass today. My name is Samuel, and it absolutely gladdens my heart to connect with you today, particularly because I'm super excited about what I'm going to be talking to you about today. I'm going to be talking to you about the 10 major drivers. The 10 major drivers of highly successful relationships. one of the things that I do as a relationship coach and a marriage educator is to research marriages across the world. And one of the things that we do when we research marriages is to figure out what makes marriages work. As a theologian, one who studies the Bible, one of the things that I also take special privilege or joy in doing is to also look at the marriages in the Bible and figure out principles that make certain marriages work. Not all marriages had perfect endings, but some of them had certain spines, certain things in them that make them to be very successful. So the point is this: the more you know about what really makes marriages work, the more principles you know, the more keys you know, the more secrets you know, the more effective your marriage and relationship becomes. So if you're a single person and you want to have a very successful relationship, or you are a divorced person but you want to get married again and you want to have a successful relationship, or you are currently in a state of separation emotionally, physically with your partner, and you're considering divorce, maybe you need to pause and ponder. The things that I'm about to share with you today, which to a great extent perhaps make you have a rethink and get to realize that perhaps you wanted to give up your relationship prematurely and ignorantly. All right? So whatever the situation is, whether you're single, you're married, you're divorced, you are separated, you're complicated, trust me, the things you're about to hear today will greatly, greatly help you. I always say this. Why is it that you will invest so much into prayer, you will invest into financial breakthrough, and never invest into having a successful marriage? Well, the lesson you are beginning to learn these days is that from people like, Jennifer Lopez, from people like, Bill Gates and his wife Melinda, and even in the church today, we're having divorces all over the place. The lesson you are beginning to learn is that, look, we all spend a greater time investing into our career. We read books to pass our exams. We do refresher courses so we can be relevant at work. But I want to ask you a question. In the last 1 year, in the last 2 years, in the last 5 years, how many books have you read on marriage, on relationship? How many books have you read on parenting? How many books have you read on what it means to be a husband? How many books have you read on what it means to be a wife? You see, so we have so much ignorance driving our assumptions. I'm going to say that again. We have so much ignorance, assumptions, making us to believe that we know what it means to be a husband. The question is, where did you learn it from? And you see, that throws a lot of men into confusion every time I talk with men. Same thing with you women. Where did you learn what it means to be a wife from? Oh, maybe from a mother who really had a challenge with your father, and she spent time trying to teach you how to be very careful with men. And the cycle of dysfunction just continues. And so you reproduce your mother's marriage in your own husband's house. The same thing with us men. We never spend time to we read about everything about Forex, about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. We read about investment. We read about real estate. We read about our career. We read about everything except to read about what we're going to spend our lives doing. Marriage, relationship. We don't spend time to read about parenting. We don't know the different types of parenting. So we go into this whole game with so much assumptions, poor orientation, wrong orientation, high expectations, and then we meet with lots of frustration. So today my intention is to help you provide, I intend to provide to you and for you some of the things that I think will be very helpful. Having researched some of the most successful marriages across the world, my intention is to provide you with the kind of information that perhaps and revelation that will help you to have a greater success potential in your marriage and relationship. So here's what we're going to do today. I'd like you to quickly pull out your writing materials, whatever it is that you want to use to write, because I'm going to be saying some things that you need to take note on. All right? Even if you're watching online, it's important that you have a notebook, something you can use to take notes so that you can refer to it later, maybe at work or something like that. So I'll be talking to you today on what I call the 10 major drivers of highly successful relationships and marriages. What drives marriages and relationships that are very successful? Those are the things we want to talk about today. All right? Now, the first thing I want to make you remember is that highly successful relationships are not relationships where we have perfect individuals. No. I'm going to say that again. Highly successful relationships are not relationships where we have perfect individuals. On the contrary, it is a relationship where we have ordinary individuals who are committed to one goal. Ordinary individuals who are committed to one goal. And what is that goal? Working together to make their relationships and marriage work. So if you say a relationship is successful, it's because you have two individuals in the relationship who are committed to making it work. See, that's the point. The word I want you to take note of there, the word is commitment. Okay? That is the key word. So it's a relationship is one where you have two individuals who are committed to making sure that the relationship or marriage works. It won't work because you wish it. It will work because you work it. You need to write that down. No relationship works because we wish. No relationship works because we wish it. Relationships work because we work it. Oh, that is a good one there. All right. No relationship works because we wish it. Relationship works because we work it. It's important that you take note of that. So if you see any relationship working anywhere, it's because there are two individuals in the relationship who are committed to making that relationship a great success. And I want to say that you can make it work too. It's possible if you commit yourself to it. So commitment. So there is no such thing as highly successful relationship because the partners are perfect individuals. No. And by the way, let me also put this straight to you, that highly successful marriages and relationships are not marriages where the individuals or the relationship in itself is trouble-free. No. Highly successful relationships are, in fact, they usually say to us when we research such relationships, we get to find out that they have so many troubles. In fact, they have more troubles than the relationships that ended up in divorce. Isn't that strange? Highly successful couples, highly successful relationships have come to testify that they have troubles. And when we look at the troubles that they have had and yet they chose to become successful in their marriage or relationship, we got to realize that they face more troubles than the relationships that broke up or the marriages that ended up in a divorce. In essence, the commitment to make it work and the willingness to confront issues without attacking individuals. Let's deal with the problem. Sweetheart, you're such a beautiful life, but I love you. You see, they operate from a clinical point of view. Couples who make their marriages work focus on issues, not persons. They don't focus on personality. They don't attack their personality. They confront the issues they have to deal with. Sweetheart, I love you, but there's a problem here. And that is the fact that you don't always organize things the way I want them. The things are not properly organized. So the focus is on what the person doesn't do well, not who the person is. When you leave what the person does or doesn't do well and start attacking the personality of the person, you're not going to have a good relationship because you've moved into criticism and you may likely go into contempt and your marriage is going to be condemned. It means your marriage is going to fail or relationship is going to break up. So, because we have a lot to talk about today, I'm going to be talking to you straight away on the 10 major drivers that makes successful relationships. 10 major drivers. I hope I can cover all of them today. Otherwise, I will continue tomorrow. Would you be kind enough now to share the video? Every one of us, I appreciate you so very much. Let's make it a practice so that we can get other persons get to know about it. Somebody's about to head to a divorce court because of ignorance. If you share, you will deliver the person from ignorance. Yes. Somebody's about to break up his marriage or his relationship. Somebody's about to break up her marriage or relationship because of ignorance. But if they get to hear what we're about to share today, perhaps it will be of great help to such individuals. So I want to count on you. And as you do so, may the God of heaven bless you and continue to bless you as you share to bless somebody else. Now let's get to number one of it. From studies biblically, looking at the Bible, looking at Adam, looking at Abraham, looking at the patriarchs in the Bible, and then looking at contemporary times, studying marriages of highly successful couples who are God-fearing, and some of them may not be Christians, but their marriages are very successful. We discovered that there is one major thing that runs across all of them. It is what we call visualization. Visualization. Very powerful. Visualize. We've discovered that couples who are very successful in their marriage are able to visualize the future together. They are able to visualize the future for their coming together. They are able to visualize it together. Meaning, as we come into relationship, the first thing we want to articulate, the first thing we want to put together of where we are going to. Not how many roses we will have on our wedding day. No. The first thing we want to be clear about is the kind of future we want to have. Highly successful couples begin with visualization. Every time they have interaction, it is when they talk more about where are we going to, what's your vision, what's your goal, how many children would we like to have, what kind of house will we want to live in, what kind of businesses should we run and which should we not run. They want to first of all be clear about the future. The Bible says, happenings. I'm going to make a statement that sounds like the first, but they are not the same. I said they visualize the future together. Number two, they visualize their future together. See, talking about visualization. They visualize the future together, and they visualize their future together. They see themselves at 50. They see themselves at 60. They visualize the future together. Yes. So please go ahead and share the video, invite your friends. They visualize the future together, and they visualize themselves, their future together. They see themselves in the future together. Nothing drives them, nothing makes them to go through adversity. That's why we call these things drivers. These are the reasons why some couples will meet with obstacles and they keep going on. Whereas a couple will come close to the obstacle and give up. It is easy to give up when you have nothing to live for. But when there is a compelling vision, there is a willingness to overcome obstacles. So single sister, single brother, you want to be very successful in your marriage. You want to be very successful in your relationship. Begin with visualization. See the future together. Visualize your achievements together. Visualize your house together. God said to Abraham, he said, Abraham, lift up your eyes and look for as far as you can see. It will be yours. Please, the power of visualization. As far as you can see, it is yours. As far as the couple can see, they can reach. If a couple always see themselves divorced, they will be divorced. It's a matter of time. But if a couple see themselves spending their lives together, then whatever comes their way, they are most likely to be able to overcome it, because their minds have captured and have been captured by the image of their future together. I'm going to say that again. They will be able to overcome challenges because their minds have been captured, and their mind has captured the picture of their stay together in the future. So visualization is very powerful. Learn to visualize. Learn to see the future together with your spouse. Let me quickly move to number 2 because of my time. There is something we also realize that highly successful couples do together. Something they do very, very natural. It just comes to them naturally because they've done that over and over. So it has become second nature to them. I've been able to sit with some of these couples, very successful couples, who have been 50 years old in marriage, some of them 35 years old in marriage. And I've looked through the Bible and contemporary times, and I've found that there's something that runs amongst all of them. It is what we call analyzation. Analyzation. The first is visualization. The next is analyzation. What we've realized is that couples who are very successful do something so very well. Number one, they have the capacity to analyze their current condition. They properly analyze their current condition together, corporately. They sit down and they say, where are we? Where are we starting from? What do we have left? What do we intend to accomplish? They analyze their current position. They analyze their current condition. They analyze their current situation. It is something highly successful couples do. And if you want to be a very successful couple also, you want to be highly successful in your marriage or relationship, please imbibe that. Learn to sit down. For instance, if you are engaged to a guy, you're engaged to a lady, planning to get married, begin with analyzation. Where are we? How much do you earn? How much do I earn? It is analyzation that helps us to practice what we call minimization. What does that mean? It is analyzation. When we analyze, how much do you earn? Where are you now? Where are you going to tomorrow? Are you planning to do your master's? How much will it cost? How much money do we need to start setting aside? Planning, all right? And so objectivity, mission, vision, we start looking into the future. Analyze right now your condition, your position, your situation. All right? And from there, you can build up. We build up from ground zero. You don't start building from the top down. The only thing you do like that is a grave. And those who like to start from the top always end up in the grave. Wise couples dig down, analyze deeply, so you can rise very highly. All right? So it's important for you to know this, that one of the major things that couples who are very successful, singles who are very successful in relationship that ends up in marriage, one of the things they do so very well is that they analyze their relationships highly effectively. And that's something also that you need to consider. That's not the only thing they do when it comes to analyzation. Is that okay? They also individually analyze their actions, their decisions, their interactions, and their reaction in the relationship, and try to study how my actions, my interactions, my reactions, my decisions, they try to study how my interaction, reactions, decisions, how it affects the relationship positively or negatively. The Bible says in the book of 1 Corinthians 15, the Bible says, examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith. So analyzation is very critical. you will need to listen to this. Listen, some of you may need to download this video, because in the years to come, in the months to come, you will be looking for this, and I hope you find it on Facebook or YouTube. Follow me carefully today. This is not just a hype emotional kind of thing. This is based on empirical research, observations, interactions. So highly successful relationships are relationships where the individuals analyze their individual actions, decisions, interactions, reactions, and how it affects the relationship positively or negatively. They examine themselves. They recognize that wherever there is conflict, it takes more than one to create a conflict. That yes, my partner may be the one that started it, but I also had a part that I played. Otherwise, there will be no conflict. And nobody exonerates themselves. Nobody paints the error of the other one to be bigger than the error of this one. No. Everybody realized that we all played a part to make it what it is, either good or bad. Analyzation. It is critical that if you're going to have a very successful relationship in life, that you begin to think about the importance of analyzation. And please, I'd like to quickly say something here. And what I want to say is that don't take analyzation too personal. What that means is where you notice there's an attitude, a behavior, a contribution that you are making towards the downward spiral of your relationship, it doesn't mean you should kill yourself, all right? Just recognize that, look, my contribution is not positive. I'm toxic. My attitude is toxic, and I need to deal with that. Okay, so let's take it now to the next one, number 3, which is what I want to share with you now. What are the things that I also realize about highly successful couples is the fact that they practice something that you all know in a car. Here's the game. If you put your car in gear 1, it moves forward. Gear 2, it goes forward. Gear 3, it goes forward. Gear 4, it goes forward. Gear 5, it goes forward. If you put your car in reverse, it goes backward. But there is this part of the gear system. You just find this letter called N. Letter N. And letter N is for the word neutral. And once you put your car on neutral, what that means is that it doesn't allow the car to go forward and it doesn't allow it to go backwards. All right? So here's the game. Highly successful people neutralize, take note of this, they neutralize negative emotions. They neutralize the effect of negative emotions, and they neutralize the effect of toxic memories of their past experiences. They neutralize it. What that means is that they do not allow the past, what has happened in the past, they do not allow it to affect their relationship. So they neutralize it. And this is something everybody has to do individually. You have to personally neutralize the effect, the impact, which is negative from your past based on the memories and interactions you've had in the past. You want to neutralize it. You want to say, hey, listen, what happened in the past will not affect my relationship today. So they neutralize it. So we call it neutralization. It's something highly successful couples practice in great measure. Paul the apostle put it this way. He said, I put the past behind me and I press towards the mark of the high calling of our Lord Jesus Christ. You have to neutralize the effect of your past, just like you neutralize a bomb. You have to neutralize your past and its effect on your relationship and your marriage. Neutralize it. And how do you do that? Confront it and say to yourself, the person I'm in relationship with today is not responsible for what somebody did to me in the past. Find a place in your heart to forgive. Let go of yesterday. Stop looking at today from the prism and the lenses of yesterday. If it is very difficult for you to do, look for someone that can help you. Give a call. Look for a mentor. Look for a coach. Look for a counselor. Call someone and say, hey, you know what? I need help. And there are too many people out there who will be willing to help you. If you care to share, they will be there to help. Number 4, very quickly. We have realized also that very successful couples, we realize that there's some things that they do so very well. In Bible days, in contemporary times, as I read through the Bible and try to find the secrets of very successful marriages, I find out also that they practice something that they call stabilization. Stabilization, meaning to stabilize. They consciously seek and they consciously pursue whatever is needed to stabilize their marriages and relationships. Can I say that again? Highly successful couples, they always look for and they pursue whatever it is that will be useful in making their marriages and relationships to be stable. They do that so effectively. Whatever will make my wife to be happy, I will look for it. Whatever will make my husband to be happy, I will look for it. It's the commitment of highly successful couples. They are focused on stability, the stability of their relationships. And they know, please follow me carefully, they know that relationships is powered by individuals. This is how it works. Individuals power relationships. Relationships power marriages. Marriages power families. Families power society, communities, and the nation at large. Let's get to the foundation. Relationships are powered by individuals. So highly successful couples, they focus on the individuals in the relationship, knowing that if I can find what makes my wife happy, I always say this to my wife. I always say to her, when I hear you talk, I'm trying to find out in my wife when she's making conversation, and maybe my wife just say like, you know, I like this duster. I take that seriously. When my wife made that kind of statement sometimes, and she says it twice, something tells me she wants me to get that duster for her. So I'm constantly looking out for what will make her happy. It is my commitment, because that's what makes successful couples to be very successful. There is a constant focus, a constant search, a constant pursuit of the knowledge of what my partner will like or need in order for me to be able to provide that, so that there can be stability in our relationship. And if our relationship can be stable, our marriage will be stable. If our marriage is stable, our family will be stable. Our family is stable, of course, society at large will be, by our own contribution. Now listen, if you've not shared the video, you better do, because I know that we're just right at number 4 and I'm rushing to number 10. So you better invite your friends now. You know any couple that are going through challenges, you know a single lady that just had a breakup, someone in your office hoping to get married, someone who is already married and the person is not happy, chat them up, send them this on WhatsApp. Put it on your status. Tell them I'm listening to something right now. I need you to join me immediately. You'll be saving a life. You'll be even changing the lives of their children. Okay, so stabilization, if you want to have a successful marriage, focus on anything you can do in the life of the person you are in relationship with, such that it will make the person to be happy. If the person is happy, your relationship will be happening. Your marriage will be strong. So focus on the other person, so that your relationship can be stable. Don't forget that when it comes to balancing, if there's too much weight on one side, you never have balance. If there's going to be balance, each side must be satisfied. And that's what we're talking about. Stabilization requires satisfaction. Write that down. Stabilization requires satisfaction, meaning if the parties in the relationship are satisfied, the relationship will be stabilized, and the marriage, of course, will be very successful. So our commitment, none of us is there, but we are now beginning to have something we can use to pursue successful marriage. Many of us want to have successful marriage, but we don't know how. We don't even know what to pursue. We don't know what to look out for. I am giving those things to you now. That is why the Bible tells us that let every man seek how to honor the other person, how to please the other person, how to bless the other person. So it's always about other-centered. Is that okay? When you focus on bringing satisfaction to somebody and the person focus on the same, when there is satisfaction, there's stabilization. I feel this thing really good. I know I'm speaking good to somebody. Number 5. One of the things that I found among very successful couples is what we call, listen carefully. Before I mention it, let me remind you. I remember very well that when my wife had our first son, David, I remember that whenever we give him his food, I know that my wife would take the feeding bottle, put it in some kind of containing environment, and they call that sterilization kits. So she takes my son's water bottle. Yes, so she takes my son's water bottle, put it in a container. They call that sterilization container, sterilization kit. The whole idea is to make sure that they get rid of any germ that can introduce disease into the life of my son. So there's something called sterilization. Sterilization, when you have an injury, they try to clean it up so that there's no infection. It is sterilization. When you use an instrument and you're going to use it again, you want to take care of the instrument so that you don't become infected by the same. It's called sterilization. Anything you try to work on so that it does not become a means of infecting you with what will cause pain, the process is what we call sterilization. All right? So we found out that successful couples who are very successful, we realize that they give attention to sterilization. Solomon did not give attention to that early in his life. That was why later Solomon said, sterilize your relationship. Take away from us the little foxes that spoils the vine. What was he saying? Sterilize. That was all he was saying. Jesus Christ was talking to his disciples. And you know what he said to them? He said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Beware of interacting with the Pharisees. They can so infect you that you will bring it into my cycle. So I want to warn you, be careful. Don't interact with them because they are highly infectious. Just make sure you quarantine yourself from them because they are highly infectious. That is sterilization. So when it comes to very successful relationship, one of the things that we found out is that highly successful couples, highly successful singles sterilize their relationships, their associations, their networks. They sterilize what they watch. They sterilize what they listen to, who they listen to. Because they know that what you watch, who you listen to, who you give your ears to, can actually infect you with concepts, philosophy, culture, tradition, paradigms, and principles that can shift your life in the wrong direction. So they sterilize what they hear. They sterilize who they relate with. And once they find someone to be toxic, they get rid of the person in a very courteous and very, very humble and nice way. You don't just say, hey, you are a very toxic person to me. No. They find a very clear, wise, and welcoming approach to gradually begin to disintegrate themselves from such a relationship. So in sterilization, you get rid of any friend or anybody in your inner cycle whose influence on your life is negative, including your brother, including your sister, and sometimes your mother. Oh, sometimes I forgot to mention your father. Hey, maybe I should also tell you your pastor. Oh, yes. If your pastor's influence on your marriage is negative, it doesn't mean your pastor is bad. It just means that your pastor doesn't have the kind of training to actually contribute the most into your marriage. Honor him as your pastor who feeds you spiritually, but find somebody else as a mentor who can feed your marriage. Right? Okay, so please do not forget, this is becoming very serious right now. Be careful not to hang around anybody whose presence negatively affect or infect you with bad ideas or bad behaviors. Sterilize. Let's move on to number 6. We realize that very successful couples practice something they call internalization. Highly successful couples practice something we call internalization. What that simply means is that they don't just allow things to pass by, things that are very good, things that can help their marriage. They don't just allow it to pass by without internalizing it, making it a part of their lives. For instance, if a man notices that his wife likes gifts, he just noticed anytime I give my wife gifts, she comes alive. Wow, okay. I will internalize that, meaning I will imbibe that as something I will constantly do. All right, because it is what opens up my wife. It is called love language. Tomorrow I'll be dealing with love language, apology language. So get ready. Tomorrow is going to be really, really exciting as I deal with apology language and as I talk also about love language. The two of them are the two sides of a coin that makes the language of relationship to be effective. If you know love language and you don't know apology language, you're going to be running into problem in relationship. So don't miss tomorrow. Going to be very enriching. Okay, so don't forget this, that highly successful couples practice what we call internalization. They internalize what their partners respond well to, and they repeat it. Is that okay? They internalize what their partner responds to and they repeat it. If my partner always responds positively to words of affection, words of affirmation, I will always repeat that and I will make sure I do it creatively. So they repeat it creatively. If my partner responds to physical touch, for those who are married, that I'm going to repeat touching my partner because it's what my partner responds to positively. Oh my God. Am I teaching good? I know. I feel good. I tell you, I feel good. I feel good. I know this is really helping somebody. So they internalize it. The reason why people who are creative, the reasons why inventors invent things is because when inventors, creators, innovators, when they look at things, they look at it carefully and internalize what they are looking at. That is why they are able to design cars that looks like a fish. They design cars that looks like animals. They design planes that looks like birds. Somebody observed the bird carefully. You looked at the bird and you took your eyes away. But somebody looked at the bird, studied the flight of the bird, the aerodynamic movement of air, how air walks through the feathers of the bird, and somebody said, look, you know what? We can design a Lamborghini like that. We can design a Ferrari like that. We can design a stealth jet like that. We can design a Tomahawk jet, a helicopter, to look like that particular bird. So the point I'm making is highly successful couples give attention to details. They internalize it. If my partner is a type that likes me to always write, I will always write. They know the values of their partner. My partner doesn't like things like this. I internalize it so that I don't get to do what my partner doesn't like. Internalize your partner's values. Internalize your partner's principles. My wife hates lies. My wife can't stand someone lying. So my kids have to stay away from that because their mother can literally be very upset at them if they go that way. So we always tell my kids, just tell us the truth. So internalize what makes your partner happy. Don't ignore it. If your partner keeps talking about one thing over and over, I like suya, I like this drink, I like cappuccino, I like my tea with a little bit of whisk milk, I like my coffee with this, internalize it. Otherwise, you will always err on the side of what you constantly ignore, which you should have internalized. Number 7. We have also found out that highly successful couples, they do something so very well. They verbalize, they speak. Is that okay? They don't just listen, they also speak. They don't just negotiate, they speak. Now, they verbalize their emotions, their desires, their wishes. They speak it out. They don't expect their partners to read their minds. Your birthday is coming and you wish that your partner will buy you a car. He can afford it. Hey, stop wishing that he will buy you a car. He may not be thinking about a car right now. He may be thinking about something else for you. So you don't get to your birthday and be sad on your birthday because he did everything. He gave you in fact, he may have given you something worth more than a car, but you did not value it because you were expecting a car. Here's the point. Men don't read your mind. Men read newspapers. So if you want it, tell the person. And this is how to talk. You say, sweetheart, I know you're preparing for my birthday. I don't know what you're planning, but whatever it is you're planning, I'll be so glad. If you can afford it, I'll be so glad if I can get a car. And I want to get this kind of car and this kind of color. Be precise. All right? Let's see, goes to buy you a black Rover whilst you're waiting for a white one. Again, he bought you the car you want, but not the color you want, and then your joy is incomplete. The point we're making here is that if you want it, you wish it, please say it. Highly successful couples are very good at being careful and being creative and being wise in the way they verbalize their desires, their wishes, and their expectations. Your marriage will begin to work and your relationship will begin to work when you stop expecting your partner to be a mind reader. I mean, those of you who are Christians, you are the one binding the spirit of divination and you want your partner to function with it. You are taking authority over the spirit of sorcery. You are taking authority over the spirit of witchcraft, and you expect your partner to be able to read your mind. As a couple, you want sex, tell your partner, hey sweetie, I'm coming home tonight and I will want sex. Don't get home and expect your partner to know. It is natural that your partner should be thinking about that, but not every day will your partner be thinking about that. So if you are thinking about what your partner is not thinking about, tell your partner what you're thinking about. Oh, can I say that again? If you are thinking about what your partner is not thinking about, tell your partner what you're thinking about. Stop thinking your partner will be thinking about what you're thinking. Nothing creates frustration like that. I have a question. Idou, If you like a guy, you are both over 40 and he's not speaking up, what should you do as a woman? If you say the guy is not speaking up, trust me, the guy speaks. The only thing is that the guy has not found a reason to speak up where you are, because there's nothing to talk about. That guy, check him up. He may talk about politics. When it's about politics, he speaks up. When it's about sports, he speaks up. When it's about economy, he speaks up. All right? Find what he talks about so passionately. You begin to talk about what he talks about, and from talking about what he talks about, you can get him to talk about what you want him to talk about. Does that make sense? Start talking about what he talks about. If he talks about sport, learn to talk about sport. Don't get to attack him and say, look at you. And when it comes to sport, you can talk. But when it's time for us to talk, you don't talk. Well, because he doesn't have anything to talk about. So you're going to be the smart one. Join him to talk about what he talks about. And from talking about what he talks about, you can get him to start talking about what you want him to talk about. It's just the way it works. We call it alignment and redirection. Align with what he talks about and redirect him to what you want him to talk about. If he likes talking about movie, join him in watching movie. And as you're watching where they're killing the actor, and and where maybe you want to tell him about being more romantic, and there's a place where the actor entered into a place, held a lady, and then you will also spread your hand as the actor is holding the lady. You spread your hand around him and say, look at what they are doing. This is what I've also been looking forward to from you. Here's the point I'm making. Find what your husband or your partner is interested in talking about and begin to talk about it. Trust me, everybody talks about something. And everybody on earth has something they don't like talking about. There are things I don't like talking about. And it doesn't mean that they are bad. It just means they just drain my energy. And there are things that if you bring me into, I'm going to come alive. Talk about marriage, I come alive. Talk about relationship, I come alive. Talk about leadership, I come alive. Talk about success, I come alive. Talk about prayer, I come alive. Other irrelevant issues, irrelevant to me, relevant to somebody else. Find what it talks about. So never forget what I just shared with you right now. Highly successful couple, they verbalize their expectations. They verbalize their expectations, their wishes, what they want, they verbalize. Number 8. We realize something very, very important also about highly successful couples. Here's a very powerful thing I want you to keep. We realize that highly successful couples have some things they trivialize. They have some things they trivialize, and they have some things they don't trivialize. So we say highly successful couples practice something called trivialization. All right? Whatever it is that will not add value to the marriage, anything that is not relevant, they trivialize it. They don't give attention. They don't make so much fuss about it. They don't invest their energy talking too much about what is not so relevant to the success of their marriage. They trivialize it. They downgrade it. They don't major on minors, a minor or major. They practice trivialization. They ignore certain things. They avoid certain things. We see that between Jesus and his father and the people. Some people wanted to make Jesus to become king. He trivialized it because his assignment was more important than kingship. So he trivialized kingship because that's not what I want now. That's not my focus. I'm coming back to reign as king later, but for now, I want to die as savior. Trivialization. Like having a good house to live in. Jesus trivialized that. He said, listen, the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. That is not important for me now. Where to lay my head, whether I'm sleeping in a 5-star hotel. Trivialize it. There's a moment in your marriage where you must decide on what to trivialize. For some time, my wife and I had to say, listen, my wife called me and she said, you know what? Because we're carrying out a project, My wife said, look, vacation is wonderful. Vacation was something we prized so high. But in view of the project we were doing, my wife said, you know what? We're going to downgrade vacation. So there's not going to be vacation for us until the project is finished. So we trivialized vacation. We minimized it. We made it not to be something of great value. Once the project is over, it becomes of great importance again. And we're done with the project. So trivialization. There are some things we don't talk about. There are some things we don't worry about. Like you come into the kitchen and you meet maybe a little stain of oil. You don't go upstairs and call, sweetheart, where are you? Come down. And you bring your wife downstairs only to show a stain of oil that you could have just taken away by yourself. Right? Okay, so you found that the table was not properly centered in the room. And then you have to call your wife or call your husband. Where are you? Come down. Come and see this table. It is not centered. Why is it not centered? If it's not centered, center it. We don't need to talk about that. There are things we should trivialize. When you major on the minor, you will never major. When you major on the minor, you will never major on the major. Couples who major on the minor never accomplish significant things in life. Talking about irrelevant things. Why were you looking at me like that? Why did you shake your head? Why did you laugh so hard? Why did you say heh? Why did you say that? What does that mean? Why did you blink your eyes? Oh my God. I mean, you would just, sometimes when I sit down, I'm counseling with couples and they tell me what is the reason why they want to divorce. I'm like, are you really serious? Okay. Trivialization. Don't forget, as much as there are things to trivialize, there are things you must never trivialize in your marriage. Never trivialize each other's major concerns, trivialize major desires and other wishes. Make sure you know what to trivialize and what not to trivialize. Number nine. Wow. I see there's a question somewhere. Okay, I have a question. I'm a 28-year-old. I'm married and my wife and I are starting to create our own family. How do we not allow outside influences such as family, etc., to stop us from raising our daughter and creating a marriage that God is pleased with? Hello, you're married, so you don't need to start worrying about how do we create. Just simply decide amongst yourself that right now, number one, we're not going to have outsiders come live with us. We're not going to have siblings come live with us now. No, because we want to raise our kids with godly values until our kids are 6. If anybody is coming to visit us, they have a maximum of 1 week. They come to visit 1 week, and we have prior notice that they are coming, and they come, we stay together, and they are gone. All right? And if you want them to live with you, that's your choice. But here's the point. If you want to really take care of your kids, then you have to decide together as a couple to say, hey, you know what? This is how long anybody can stay with us. And this is when we're going to start opening up our doors to people to come and start living with us. We may also not even need a house help, so that we'll be able to monitor the kind of character that our children are imbibing. So it's a decision the two of you have to make as a couple. It's something that is achievable. Couple with the fact that your marriage is very young. This is the right time to make those decisions. Let me quickly rush up to number 9. Highly successful couples practice something we call revitalization. Revival. Is that okay? Revitalized. What that simply means is that these couples always find ways to refresh themselves Highly successful couples, they find time for retreat. They find time for vacation. They find time to just be alone. If you can't travel, be in your house, vacation at home, and just make sure you are with each other. Spend time with each other. Talk with each other. Refresh each other. Highly successful couple, they find ways to revitalize the love that is amongst themselves. They find time to revitalize their passion for each other. Highly successful relationships practice revitalization, meaning they recognize any relationship you don't feed will not grow. Any relationship you don't give attention to will not grow. And how do you give attention to relationships? By giving attention to the individuals in the relationship. We can get so busy with work that we give less attention to ourselves. And the danger with that is that it will begin to affect our relationship and then affect our marriage. So revitalization is the time you set aside to attend to one another. By doing so, you are attending to your relationship. By extension, you are attending to your marriage. And overall, you are feeding your family. When you feed the individuals, when you attend to each other, you are attending to your relationship. You are attending to your marriage. It is critical that you give attention to that. Let's move to number 10. Wow. I made it. I made it. I made it. I feel good. Highly successful couples practice something they call equalization. Equalization. All right? Highly successful couples practice what we call equalization. They try to make sure that they don't create a superior atmosphere in their relationship where one person, it makes the other person feels I'm better than you are. All right? We are different. Our roles are different. There's a difference between the husband and the wife. But none of them should feel I am better than the other. God didn't create better. He created different. There was nowhere in the scripture where the Bible says that God looked at the man and said, ha, my man, my man. And then God looked at him and said, man, you know what? You are better. No, there's nowhere. That's why Jesus Christ came. And then Paul the apostle made us understand, whereby now in Christ there is neither Jew nor Gentile, male or female, but all of us are now children of God in Christ. So there is equality, but there's difference in role. The role of the man is totally different from the role of the woman. He provides leadership. And the woman is called to submit to leadership. It's critical that he provides it for her to submit. Because if there is no leadership, there's nothing to submit to. So it's critical. I will deal with that some other day, not today. But I'm sure you just got something when I just said that right now. Because some of us men are looking for submission where we don't provide leadership. Provide leadership and submission becomes natural. Submission responds to leadership. Leadership actually pursues vision and mission. That is why when leadership is pursuing vision and mission, which is where we started from first, visualization. When leadership, the head of the house, is always talking about vision and mission that the family is pursuing, the woman submission, under mission, submission. She comes under the mission to undergird and support it and make it happen. So you're asking for submission where there's no mission. There's nothing actually to support. There's nothing to surrender herself to. Equalization. Highly successful couples equalize one another by showing love. Everybody shows love. We show love to each other. We try to outdo each other in showing love. Number two, we show each other respect. Men can't survive without respect. So women, it's important to know that God created men to long for respect. Men are different from women, just like plants are different from animals. As human beings, we breathe in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Plants take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. What that simply tells you is that whilst women are looking for relationship, men are looking for respect. We need respect to relate. Women need relationship to respect. So you can see that the way God wired us is different. And God put in nature what can make us understand our difference. Plants take in carbon dioxide and then give out oxygen. And then we take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So there is a symbiotic relationship going on. There is an ecosystem that is balanced in the society there. So in the same vein, if a marriage is going to work, when the woman gives out respect, the man gives out relationship. And as we trade with that, there is a balance in the marriage. Give out respect to the man and honor, and the man will give you relationship. The man will give you conversation. I'm talking about a normal man. I need to quickly say that. I'm talking about a normal situation where you're dealing with a normal man. All right. Thank you so very much. Hey, it's a good time. What a mighty God we serve. This is really interesting. Do I have any other question? Okay. Fantastic. Okay, I think I attended to some of the questions. If you have any other question, please make sure that you send the question to the number that is appearing on the screen. That is appearing right now. It's pinned up. Send your questions to that, and I hope to attend to that tomorrow. I can't wait to connect with you tomorrow evening again as we continue this whole segment on marriage and relationship that works, even what we call the Relationship Masterclass. It's been a great honor and privilege serving your purpose and God's purpose for your life, trusting that your relationship has been enriched and your marriage will be better. I can't wait to connect with you tomorrow evening. Don't forget that first thing in the morning, 5:50 a.m. West African time, we will be connecting together in the place of prayer where God is turning tables already. You're going to be hearing a mind-blowing testimony in answer to our prayer of today. I look forward to connecting with you bright and early tomorrow morning. And if you're in America, that will be past midnight tonight. Make the sacrifice to be a part of it. God bless you. Until I see you again. Bye-bye.